I was initially put onto the idea of this video when I was watching Red Shull kind of drag the Fender American Acoustasonic through the mud.
Years ago, Fender released the Acoustasonic series of guitars, starting with the American-made Acoustasonic Telecaster, and I have not been the biggest fan of those guitars.
I love this guitar so much, I have not played any other guitar live for my solo project except the Fender American Acoustasonic and the Fender Players Series Acoustasonic guitar. I love it so much that I rely on it. It's integral to what I do. I've long said that this guitar is a great guitar. It's not perfect for most people. For what I do, it is perfect. Now, the guitar has a lot of flaws and a lot of holes, and because of that, it's a very idiosyncratic product. But I think that's kind of what makes instruments that people have played and gravitated to over the years pretty spectacular and pretty unique. Is this a really great acoustic guitar? No, it's not trying to be. Is this a really great electric guitar? No, it's not trying to be. But does it do a pretty good job at both? Yeah, actually it does. Especially when you are mixing and blending those tones rapidly on the fly. I had one of the very first runs of the guitar. I pre-ordered it. I bought one and played it on day one when it was available to the public. Now, that guitar since is no longer in my possession. I ended up having an issue with the guitar. The battery had a thermal event. I reached out to Fender, and I live here in Los Angeles, California. Fender's Acoustasonic team actually reached out to me and apologized, brought me out to their factory in Corona, California, and replaced my guitar for free. And I feel bad because I've never actually updated you guys on what happened with that last situation. Yeah, the guitar ended up smoking. Like I heard a pop through the PA system and I smelled smoke. And I work with computers a lot, work with lithium-ion batteries, the battery that's actually in the Fender American Acoustasonic. The package for the lithium-ion battery had expanded and exploded, and it's designed to vent and release that gas so that, you know, something worse doesn't actually happen to the battery as far as it actually literally exploding. Now, I reached out to Fender about this. Initially, Tier 1 support was really unhelpful and told me I was going to have to pay to repair it. And eventually, I think my videos ended up reaching the Fender R&D team, and literally people from that department reached out to me, apologized profusely, loved my videos, have been watching it clearly, and wanted to offer to replace the guitar for me. Now, since that guitar is no longer in my possession, I have what is clearly a second run of the Fender Acoustasonic guitar. I also, in that interim, bought a Fender Player Series Acoustasonic Telecaster and have a lot of thoughts about that as well. So this video is going to kind of act as my hybrid review of both. Now, the Fender Acoustasonic Telecaster is still my favorite guitar to use live on stage when I am live looping. That is what I am. Welcome to my channel. I am a live looper. Guilty as charged. I've been live looping for probably about the past 7 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about because it feels like I haven't been doing it long. But at the same time, I guess I'm 7 years deep into this craft. I love it. It's a great way to add a little bit of spice to what I do live. Now, my thoughts on the Fender American Acoustasonic Telecaster. I want to tell you that the guitar is still delightful. It is light. It is easy to use. I love the neck. It is so fast. The reason I use this guitar exclusively is because right under my hand, I have so many different tones. And this is really important, especially when you're doing things like live looping, because sometimes I'm doing percussion on the top of the guitar. I'm using the body sensor. Sometimes I'm turning that body sensor off and I'm just, you know, strumming a country number, you know, with that train shuffle. And sometimes I'm needing some lead electric guitar tones. Sometimes I'm needing lead acoustic guitar tones. And if I'm dealing with a boomier bottom end, like in the dreadnought style guitar, maybe I want like a smaller guitar bodied guitar with a more focused low end and high end to be able to project that mid range. And that's the wonderful thing about it, is that in almost any sound situation, I have a guitar under my hand that's going to be suitable for that particular sound situation. I play in rooms of all sorts of sizes with my own PA system running my own sound. I'm doing small weddings in a country club in a really boomy, boxy, concrete room with glass windows on either side that's maybe, 60 square feet large, not very large at all. I'm doing large outdoor gigs, maybe 400 to 500 people, again, running my own sound. And I need to be able to be sure that my sound is projecting, and I can, bring in more of those low end sounds with the dreadnought and the jumbo body guitar. I may want to do something more laid back and use a lot more of the clean electric guitar tones when I'm doing things like wedding cocktail hours. Or I may need to pick up the tempo and the pace and the energy, for those nights where I'm doing more club dance style stuff. And maybe for a backyard party where we're celebrating a 50th anniversary and they're wanting the covers, the bangers, the Earth, Wind and Fires, the Wild Cherries, the Stevie Wonders, to be able to enjoy their time together. Now, I only have to bring one guitar for all of that. And that's my Fender American Acoustasonic. The Rhett Schulls of the world aren't doing things like that. They're content to bring 2 to 3 different guitars and maybe even switch. Or they're playing on stages in bands where they have a guitar tech be able to, prime their next guitar to be able to bring them out on stage for them. I'm not dealing with anything like that. It's me. I'm the beginning, middle, and end of the entire guitar tech team, and the performance team for that matter. And with the Fender American Acoustasonic, I don't have to worry who has my back. The guitar has my back. Now, I own Gibson Firebird that I perform with on stage. I also own a Reverend Jet HB that I perform with on stage. I'm in a funk band, and I'll admit the Fender Acoustasonic Telecaster guitar has never seen the stage in my funk band or my funk act. And the reason that is because I don't want what the Fender Acoustasonic does on stage with me, because as Rhett and others like him have so pointed out, it does an electric guitar fine, but when you need something spectacular, the Acoustasonic's not going to cut it. If I were to need acoustic tones on stage, I would actually feel entirely comfortable using the Acoustasonic on stage. And here's the reason why. It is so feedback resistant. It is so feedback resistant. I can dial in really good acoustic tones without worrying, that I'm going to have to like plug the sound hole, or I'm going to have to watch my distance or proximity to a monitor. I can walk around with confidence on stage knowing that, a lot of the tone of the guitar is being processed and produced by the guitar. Now, making sure not to have the body sensor turned up, but making sure that I have that undersaddle bridge pickup turned up. And that's the brilliance of this particular product. So, my update on it now is that from a manufacturing standpoint, I had one of the very first guitars. First runs of any product are going to be problematic. Now, since then, and getting my guitar updated, I've had some issues. I've had, one of my biggest concerns, and this if you've been watching my channel still, is that rechargeable battery. Lithium-ion batteries are not designed to last forever. They're consumable parts of any electronic product. When this dies, I'm going to have to replace this part. Now, that's fine, but that's also why I really enjoy the Player Series guitar. The Player Series guitar has a replaceable 9-volt battery. And what do? I bought a rechargeable 9-volt situation so that I can, anytime I need to, replace that 9-volt battery, and I can play with confidence. Now, the Fender American Acoustasonic guitar, I'll admit, it's died on me in really unexpected ways when I have it unplugged. And So I've gotten to the point where I'm leaving it plugged in to charge while I'm performing nearly every time. That's a really unhealthy thing if you're going to do it for a lithium ion battery, is to keep it constantly fully charged. But I just have kind of lost confidence in the battery. Now, the thing is that even with that, I love and need this sound and this functionality. It's not just the sound, it's the functionality of the guitar. I need it so much and have come to rely on it and have built my set around it because it's so convenient that I put up with that. I just, run a really long USB cord from my outlet into the guitar. And I play that plugged in most of the time. Now, if there's a situation where I'm rushed and I don't want to have to worry about that, I feel pretty confident that I leave the guitar plugged in so frequently that the guitar is, if not fully charged, almost fully charged. But my confidence has eroded in it because I don't have a battery meter. I don't have any kind of indicator or anything like that on it. And frankly, I know it seems weird, but I would just rather have a battery that I can replace than a rechargeable battery on board. The other concern that I have is long-term playability. It's not just because I had probably one of the first run guitars, but when you put computers on any product, the serviceability for that product becomes relatively limited. There's a logic board inside my guitar. If you don't know what a logic board is, it's just another word for circuit board. But it has a processor on it. It has a CPU. It probably has some kind of memory, some kind of storage on it in order to be able to load the algorithms that it needs to be able to process my sound and my signal. What that means is that, this particular part of the device is gonna wear out one day. And how am I going to get that serviced? Is Fender going to perpetually service that for me in the future so that I can continue to play this guitar? Now, the thing about Fender's other guitars is that they don't have an expiration date. They have just pickups. They're wood and copper, and they work very simply. So that is my concern with this guitar going forward, is that as long as I want to use it, is Fender going to be able to support this particular guitar? Because after a while, it just becomes more expensive to continue to press those circuit boards and those processors than it does try to sell me something new as an end user. But those are my thoughts on the guitar. Just like I said to JC, is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it perfect for me? 100%. To the Rhett Schulls of the world, if you're wondering who this guitar is for,
I think they're kind of weird. I don't think they sound good as an acoustic or an electric, and I don't really understand who these guitars are for.
that is probably not for you, quite honestly. If you're curious about this guitar, I would encourage you to get your hands on it. It's great for live sound situations. To be quite frank, I never just pick this guitar up around the house when I want something to strum. Just to my left, outside of the frame of the camera, is my Taylor 815J. I love playing that guitar. Why am I ever going to pick up Fender's Acoustasonic guitar and ever play that when I have a jumbo guitar right here? I'm just not. So when you are playing out and performing, if you're a gigging musician, and you want something that's going to be really reliable in a really tough sound situation for an acoustic guitar, and want some decent tones, like in a pop rock or a louder act, this is a great guitar. Now, if you're in folk or country and you're looking for those, really textural tones, that this guitar isn't for you. Get your K&K preamp. Get a K&K pickup. Get a condenser microphone for your guitar, and a really controlled sound situation on stage with, you and your violinist. Do that. Don't do this. None of us who are enjoying this guitar are thinking that this guitar is about to replace any other guitar in your lineup. But when you need something specific that this guitar is going to be able to execute, it executes it really well. That's all I have for you. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Rhett, if you see this,
I just don't understand it. I don't know why this is needed, and I can't recommend anyone spend their money on this thing. Now, again, that's just my opinion, and I'm sure plenty of you out there disagree with me.
Let's fight. No, I'm not serious. I love your content. I appreciate you. You know, Offender, I love the things that they produce. I have so many more videos to get done, but these are my thoughts for today. Thank you so much for being patient with me. It's been a crazy everything. First, the just drag of the lockdown and all of that, and finally coming out of my shell. It's been a weird couple years with music, and I had a baby girl also. She's 10 months yesterday, 10 months old, so it's been wild. But I appreciate you. Be safe, be well, be good to each other. Cheers.